All right.
Nice.
Husband's home. Don't you dare. You guys want to know the most annoying thing ever? So one of the camera guys at Home and Family, Mo. Apparently, I've got a bit of a resting bitch face when I'm not quite like aware that I'm on camera. So on Home and Family, we'll have like a camera with me about to do my segment, but I'm not quite on yet. But the monitor is still on me, and I'll just be like, and I like have these awful faces. He made a calendar of all of my bad faces.
Oh my god.
Something smells bad. Oh. God, what am I so mad at? Oh, I'm so judgy. I'm just the worst. That was just good timing, whatever. Oh, look at how miserable I look. I swear I'm normally very happy. And my husband has demanded that it be front and center in our house. What up, guys? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Orly Shani. This is the DIY designer. I'm so stoked that you're here. I got a great fashion DIY today. That's usually what's on the schedule. Today, what I wanted to do was a winter DIY, something incorporating sweaters. So last week I started trying to come up with some ideas, and I was sifting through like Pinterest and Instagram, and I was kind of just typing in like sweater trends 2020, like new sweater designs 2020, like just trying to see if there was anything fresh from the runways. And a couple of things that popped up that I actually really loved were these cutout sweaters. So one of them I really liked is this, the shoulder is exposed, but the sleeve still exists. Another one is just a complete one sleeve sweater. And then the last one was this like V-neck, this like deep V cutout. I love it in the tank version. I think it's really cool. Like any turtleneck sweater pretty much is gonna work for this. You can go and like hit up your local thrift store if you want. They're super inexpensive. I got like this one for $5. I got a sweater dress I'm gonna use today for about $8. But this is also a really great way to pull all those sweaters out of storage and anything that you're not super excited about, chop it up. And one of the really cool elements about this is that we're just gonna be using a needle and thread. So you don't have to know how to operate a sewing machine at all. Needle and thread is a super simple and really a perfect way to do this whole DIY, so it's totally fine. It's really easy. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to see. For those of you that are new, I hope that if you like this video that you will subscribe or maybe share the video with a friend. And for all of you guys who have been subscribing, first of all, thank you so much. You guys know how much it means to me. And make sure that you all have that bell clicked and that you turn on all notifications because they made like an extra step you have to do. So if you've subscribed to the channel, click bell, turn on notifications. You'll just get a notification on Fridays when I have a new video. And that's about it. Okay, let's do it. Materials. We're gonna start off with the deep V. So what you wanna do is put the measuring tape at like your high point shoulder and figure out exactly how low you want it. For me, 14 inches felt about right to be a deep V-neck, but I end up wishing I had made it shorter, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So first thing you do is take your measuring tape, put it up at the high point shoulder, find 14, mark it, then find your center and just move the pin so that it's at 14 inches long in the center of your sweater. So this is how I'm gonna cut it. I wish that I had actually cut it a little bit more narrow at the neckline, meaning that I didn't make as wide of a V, but whatever. So now you wanna fold it in half. This is one way of doing it, and I'll show you another way later in the video. So fold it in half, separating the front from the back. Make sure that all your side seams are even so that when you cut, you're cutting perfectly centered. Now take your very sharp fabric scissors and cut a deep V right where you had your pinpoint, which is centered and at your 14-inch mark. And now you're going to cut up. I cut about 3/4 of the way, and then I like to finish it when it's laying flat so that I can more easily see it. We tried to adjust the color here. It got super blown out. I don't know why, so I apologize if the white on white's kind of tough to see. So anyway, here we go. I'm cutting from the V all the way up to the neckline, twist it, and you're gonna cut the V off. You wanna make sure to maintain the clean finished edge on the turtleneck side. That way that's not gonna unravel. You want that to be nice and clean and crisp. Now, in order to create your actual hem, you need these tiny little notches, and that way it gives you somewhere to fold under. That's why I wish that I had actually made it a little bit more narrow, because I ended up making it about an inch to an inch and a half wider than I ultimately wanted it. Now, if your sweater or your fabric doesn't seem like it's gonna fray, you could leave a raw edge if you wanted to, or you could use fabric glue here. But what I'm gonna do is use a needle and thread. You're just gonna fold it in so that your edge is clean finished and basically mimic the stitches of a sewing machine. I went in and out, in and out, in and out, making sure that the stitches on the outside of the sweater were really small and the ones on the inside were a little bigger. Now, in order to make a sharp V, I found that I needed to create a little slit. Otherwise, it ended up becoming like a rounded V, which I didn't want. Again, that's why I actually would have made my measurements about an inch more narrow and an inch more shallow than I had originally intended. So, maybe a 12.5 or 13-inch V-neck would have been a better choice for me. But once you finish sewing it, that one is done. Now we're gonna move on to the one shoulder idea. First thing I did is just remove the one sleeve from the one side. Now I'm detaching the turtleneck from the rest of the sweater. Again, look at where you have your clean finished edge so that you make sure not to cut through that. I cut about, like 3/4 of the way and then stop, leaving the rest of the neckline attached. Again, cut your front and your back separately. That way you don't accidentally cut them in the wrong place or cut a little too high or a little too low. Once you have that cut off and it's now detached, you basically want to cut directly under the arm. This is giving you that one arm look. Again, front and back, cut them separately. Once you get to the side, you have the overall structure of your top. We are going to do the same thing. We're gonna fold in and clean finish. So again, fold down the excess, which is gonna be about 1/2 inch, fold it in, grab your needle and thread and a matching thread, and just start mimicking the stitches of a sewing machine. You can do 3 or 4 stitches at a time. Big looping stitches is fine. Just make sure that the ones that are being seen from the outside are very small so that you don't actually see that thread. Finish it off all the way through. And what I realized is right there on the corner, again, I had kind of a rounded edge, which I didn't want. I like that really crisp, sharp point. So I went back in and I actually reattached the turtleneck to the sweater for like about 1 inch. And it allowed me to recreate where it meets and create that super sharp, crisp point. Just a couple of stitches of a needle and thread and you're good to go. So at this point, you're gonna wanna try it on because by cutting it open, it's gonna make the sweater looser on you, which is why it's actually best to get sweaters that are really fitted because once you open it, it's gonna loosen anyway. Basically, you wanna try it on and see how much excess you have on the side, how much you can pinch out, and we're basically just going to flip it inside out and take it in on the side. Okay, so here you go. You can see that I've taken my sweater and I flipped it inside out, and now it's time to take it in on the side. What I did is a couple of really nice tight stitches right there on the top again, so I have that really crisp corner under the arm, which I think always looks really pretty. Do a few of them until it's super tight, and now you're basically going to go in a straight line, however wide you decided your stitch was gonna be. You're gonna go in a straight line from the top to the bottom. Again, this is based off of how you create the fit so that the sweater fits in the underarm and the body. Once you've done that, knot it off and just cut off your excess. And now you've taken it in. This is, by the way, a very simple way to take in pretty much anything that feels a little bit too big on you. And that one's done. Now, this is the second way that you can do the deep V-neck, and actually, I recommend this. I just think it's super simple. So all you're going to do is enter your scissors into the center point, cut straight down, again, a little more shallow than you want, and then cut over. I originally wanted that really wide neck, like the Tezza one on the left, but I wish that I had made mine more narrow, just for my own style. Now, instead of cutting off and cutting out the V, you actually just fold those two pieces in. So you see, I cut it down the center, then I just fold them in and fold them in, and now I stitch it down. So now I'm going in with my needle and thread, again in a matching thread, a light pale gray, and I'm working my way all the way around. You wanna make sure that you get a nice crisp V. That's the only thing that's important. So do you see there that extra piece? That's that extra fabric from when I just folded it in. So all you do is cut it off, flip it inside out, and we're done. Alrighty, that is it. So I'm actually gonna try on a couple other versions that I already made. When it's coming to the V-neck, again, just always remember to cut it a little bit more narrow and a little bit more shallow than you ultimately want it to be because you are hemming everything. And that's it. Let's see what these suckers look like on. Guys, if you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification, the bell so that you get notifications, and share it with a friend. Okay, see you next week. Bye.